Hey, is it hard?
So why not you? Turn the page. Turn the page. Let's see what's on the next page. Rewrite your story. Your past does not define who you are. It does not. It does not define who you are. I don't care what Sally or Sue or Bill or Bob says about you. It does not define who you are. Nobody, don't ever let anybody tell you who you are, because nobody knows your story but you. Nobody can see what has gone on in your life through your lenses but you. So why not you? Turn the page. Turn the page. Let's see what's on the next page. Rewrite your story. Your past. A silence where you can unleash your inner voice with Arthur Nicky Nicole. People ask me all the time why I do what I do. My vision is to shine a light on everyday people, great people, so that we all can win. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Silence with Arthur Nicky Nicole, where you can unleash your inner voice. So, today's guest, Eddie Howard. He has a resume, when I tell you a resume, filled with so many accomplishments as an artist. He has that Teddy Pendergrass feel, that Babyface feel. When I tell you, when you hear him sing, you'll be like, okay, I know what you're talking about now. So I am excited about bringing him on the Breaking the Silence platform to talk about how he became the man he is today as an artist and shine the light on him. And so everyone can know exactly who he is and start following his journey as an artist. So after the countdown, please give him a warm welcome to the Breaking the Silence stage.
Laughter's in the air, children everywhere. We come to celebrate from near and far. We've had so much love to share. Auntie's way to Motown, cousins break it down. Uncles teaching the two-step as we pass the love around. No jealousy, no shade, no hate. We just all appreciate our time together.
How you doing?
Wow, I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being a guest on the Breaking the Silence. I really appreciate you. So tell everybody who you are. Tell everybody, who is Eddie Howard?
So I am Eddie Howard. I'm an R&B vocalist. That's sort of how I brand myself. However, I'm really not limited to one genre, but that's the genre that tends to when I create, I tend to gravitate toward. I currently live in Los Angeles, California. However, I am from the boot. If anyone knows what the boot is, if you know, you know, right? Louisiana, Alexandria, Louisiana, to be more specific. That is where I grew up. It's where I was born and raised. But I landed here in Los Angeles in pursuit of music by way of the United States Air Force.
Nice, nice. So, how did your journey start as an artist? Where did that begin? Did it begin as a child, or is it something you did as an adult?
No, it started at a very, very young age. I think, if there's one of the most beautiful things that I think my family left me with was the gift of music. I come from a very musical family. My uncle was a multi-instrumentalist. His name was MacArthur Jones. I have another uncle, O'Neill Jones, who's an accomplished pianist. Just a host of cousins that were all musical, and I just grew up in the family, just surrounded, mostly in the church. When I started in the church as a guitar player. I was the guitar player, and my cousin was the singer. I was a little jealous a lot of times because, I'm kind of in the background, and, and he, kind of got all of the glory from being the singer, but, an awesome singer. But nonetheless, that's really where I got my start. Just really, playing music in the church, singing in the church. And then once I left home for the United States Air Force, I got an opportunity to perform for a show band called Air Force Tops in Blue. I was really, really unsure of myself as a musician at that time, and a good friend of mine convinced me to try out for it because in my dorm room, I had an entire studio. I had about 6 guitars, and and he said, "Man, you really should try out for this Tops in Blue audition." And I did, and I tell you, if you know who the group Ready for the World is, that was the very first song that I sang publicly. It was a song called "Let Me Love You Down."
Okay.
Now I have to tell you, I completely bombed.
No.
I completely bombed on that song because I was so nervous when I got on stage. However, even with that, there was a feeling. There was a feeling that came with that performance. And it was after that performance that I said to myself that, you know what? I love this feeling. I love the way I feel when I'm here on stage. And so I worked hard. So the next year I went back, and I made it through the audition. And and so that was it was a real experience for me. It was an eye-opening experience for me. But it really allowed me to find myself in terms of what I really, really, truly enjoyed doing. And from that point forward, I did that for a year. I was actually stationed in Okinawa, Japan at the time.
Nice.
So my final 2 years in the military, I landed here in Southern California at one of the Air Force bases here. So that's really where I really started to really try and develop, my skill as an artist, because I figured, hey, if I'm here in Los Angeles, this is an opportunity for me. So I did. So I once it was time for me to get out of the military, I formed a group. We had it was sort of a singing rap group called Real.
Nice.
We performed at, places like, the Roxy, Carlos and Charlie, here on Sunset Strip out in Los Angeles. So, very, very popular places. And so from there, I decided, after a few years, I decided to do my own solo thing. And so, I spent endless amounts of money in recording studios and, really trying to get my demos right. And, Capitol Records, that iconic building that's in Hollywood. I would spend days standing outside of Capitol Records trying to catch people who are going in saying, "Hey, can you listen to my demo?" Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's harder than most people think, right? But I got to a point where I realized that I had spent quite a few years relying on other people to validate who I was as an artist. And once I came to that realization, it made me understand that I really had the power to do exactly what I needed to do as a musician. So what I did was instead of spending time in the recording studios, spending time, trying to get people to listen to my demos, I started to build my own recording studio.
Nice.
Part of which I'm sitting in right now, in fact.
Nice.
But I started to build my own recording studio. And I didn't know a lot. I didn't know a lot about recording. I knew how to sing. I knew how to play music. Didn't know a lot about recording, but I learned, brick by brick. And it really took me, I would say a couple of years before I was able to really, go into the studio, record myself, in some, and just be really fluent at it, where I felt comfortable that, hey, when I come out, I've got a product that, but from there, so I started I built the recording studio, and then I started my own record label, the label, which is entitled Copper Street Records. And from there, I started working with other artists, but the true goal of this label was to really be able to take whatever investments that I had and put them into me, right? To put them into me, and try to build, an artist. And so that's what I did over the years. And I've recorded now and released. I just last year released my 4th studio album. And then just recently, the song that you just played, and thank you so much for playing it, was my latest single, which was entitled We Come to Party. But, I've done, in terms of live performances, I've worked with artists like The Temptations. I've opened for The Whispers.
Nice.
Just various, opening acts. Lots and lots of performances, just around the country. And so I love music. I love music. It's what I do. I have this thing where I say, were it not for the music, because I think that everything that I have done in my adult life has been in some shape or form because of the gift of music. The decisions that I've made, the people that I've met, have all been because of the gift of music. And my pursuit of that has led me to intersect with so many lives.
Right. Awesome. So what made you transition from being in the group Real to being a solo artist?
Well, I think, I think many groups can probably attest to this. A lot of times group members have a passion for the music, right? but not everybody has the same passion, right? And so anyone who was in that group who knew me, they knew that I was like a locomotive, right? I'm moving. I'm moving. If we say, hey, today we're gonna do this, then the next second I'm on it, right?
Right.
And so I found that and I don't think it was any fault of their own, right? But I think that a lot of the group members had, their interests were divided, whereas mine was focused, right? It was focused. And so that was really the catalyst and the main thing that led me to say, hey, I'm just gonna move forward. Yeah.
Wow. So we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna talk about your challenges that you face as an artist.
Oh, absolutely. All right.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 314 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
I want to try to make it make sense. How my heart beats so heavy going through this nonsense, I'm fucking angry. Cause why do I love you more than myself, and why do I always end up calling out for help? Trying to find myself cause I'm so lost in this, what we call love, but it's full of shit. It sits me down for days at a time. The shit's so heavy it really boggles my mind how I give you all of me. When you sick, I'm the one that takes care of he. How you don't have to ask twice cause I heard you the first time, and everything in me said follow my first mind, cause that feeling I get in my chest while recreating our nest so that we can be the best and overcome this test. But that feeling of rage I get when you treat me like an option. Like you got choices of people to call on when things get toxic. Like you got people that care, but only when it's beneficial to them. Cause I'm always there. I really got him. His back, his front, and I could have the sides too, but I clearly don't mean that much to you. I'm always so blue trying to stay true to a man who sees past the real you. Looking past my real eyes, then I start to realize that all real eyes don't realize that they got something good till that soul dies. And those soul ties become loose knots. I hate to sound like a bot, but is you cool? Cause a part of me want to go upside your head with these tools and smile bright for Channel 2 News, but I refuse to let you ruin my life. Despite all those lefts, I always pray for those rights. Those good loving long nights, hoping that we stay tight, but in our reality, you really wanted to fight. I rather you kept it real from the start. Why does loving you so much really hurt my heart? The thought of letting go and starting over really haunts me, but I'd rather be with somebody who really wants me. Peace.
Nice. That was a poem by Tiffany Marie. She's one of my favorite spoken word artists. She has a new album out. So let's talk about your next level. Let's talk about challenges you had as an artist. So has it been a long journey or a short journey as an artist?
It has absolutely been a long journey. But I think as an artist, I don't think the expectation can be that the journey will be short. I mean, yes, there are people who have had, the overnight successes, but, just as quickly as the overnight successes come, they go, right? For me, it has been an extremely long journey because I've had to take a path because I didn't have the big corporate record label money to do all of the advertising. So I've had to fund myself. I've had to invest in myself. Of course, when you're doing that, sometimes it's sort of a hurry up and wait, right? Because you have to work, you have to get a job, you have to get money somehow to be able to fund your dreams. So I think in that regard, the journey has been longer for me, but it could never be more rewarding, right? Because there's a sense of gratitude, to say that I've been able to endure this for so long, and still have the passion. There's so many people who I've started with who just don't have the passion anymore.
Yeah.
Right. For whatever reason. So I'm so grateful for the fact that I still have the passion to sit down and write a song and deliver that song to an audience that is hopefully appreciative.
Right.
I think the other challenge is, over the years, the industry has changed.
Yes.
How music is delivered. I remember the day when I could record an album, press it on a CD, right? Go to my shows, sell my CD,
Right.
right? And, make $10, $12 per CD. Today, I can get 20,000 streams on Spotify and get a check for $20.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. So, so having, people like you who acknowledge the music, and help get the word out is one of the greatest things that an independent artist like myself could ever have. Right. Because, you can't do it alone.
You can't.
Right. You can't do it. The industry is so different today. It is so different. So, I'm very appreciative again, for you having me on and helping get the word out about, my music, because, I can say that, yes, the money does help me continue and it helps me survive. But the money has always been, in my eyes, secondary, right? What's been primary to me is really trying to make good music, that people will love, and because I feel that if I can do that, then eventually the money will follow. So, yeah.
I agree. But it's funny you said that, because a lot of artists that are independent, they have to really push their music, I think, harder now because of technology.
Yes.
Those selling CDs days were the best days,
They were
because
the best days. Yeah.
you can get
Absolutely.
your music further. So $20 though, off for 20,000 people.
It is, the streaming services now, because if you really think about it, right, you pay what, $9.95, $19, I don't know what it is, for Apple Music, Spotify, and you can listen to all of the music that you want to listen to, right? And so there are millions of artists who have their music on these streaming platforms. And I think, if you stream a song, and depending upon, how popular you are as an artist, if you stream a song, I think a stream will get you like 0.001 cent per stream. Or something to that effect. So, really, what is really about today for artists is brands, right? It's like the more you can get the word out, the more people you can reach, the more brand deals you can get, which is really where the artist can make money off of, it's more about the popularity, right? And getting those brand deals. Of course, performing, you got to get out there and you got to hit the road sometime, right?
Got to.
But yeah, but in terms of selling your original music, it's a grind. It's a daily grind,
Wow.
Yeah.
So
You got to be. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
have you had your I made it moment yet?
No. My I made it moment? No. And honestly speaking, I don't think I'll ever reach that I made it moment. Because at every level, there's always something else to learn and something else to do.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
Because you set one goal for this month and then you
yeah,
meet that goal, then you're setting
it
another
becomes
goal.
it becomes the floor, right? It's the floor you're standing on, reaching for the next one. So
Exactly. It's always something. I agree. I never thought about it
yeah,
that way until you said it, but yeah, you're right. It's always
yeah,
something.
yeah.
So we're going to take
Absolutely.
our last break and we're going to come back and talk about your accomplishments and what's next for you.
Awesome.
Yo, ball on the beat.
What I said, really what the fuck I said. I said what I said, really what the fuck I said. I said what I said, I mean what I mean. Cut you off quick, you ain't right for the team. I said what I said, really what the fuck I said.
Trouble all in they hearing, trouble all in they spirit. They don't wanna see me get it, that's why I never listen. Frequently they try to shoot they venom. Virulent toxics coming forward, that's why I just ignore them. I said what the fuck I said, I mean what the fuck I mean. Maybe you need a Q-tip, cause I've been that.
Shout out to Miss Toy. Thank you so much for being a part of my circle and pushing me to my endless limits. So yeah, that was Miss Toy from You Can Put Your Back Into It song. Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about your accomplishments on this journey. What have you accomplished on this journey so far to say that you can say, well, it's rewarding and this is what I set myself out to do, and I'm to that point where I can say it's rewarding.
Absolutely. So, I briefly mentioned, earlier, what I really consider to be major. So when we talk about, we can talk about, awards, but that. So, for example, I've had 4, independent music, awards that I've been able to obtain through over the years. But what I really, really think are the accomplishments for me is honestly, when as I said earlier, I completed last year my 4th album, my 4th studio album. Every year I set a goal for myself to say, hey, this year, I'm gonna complete an album, and the theme of the album is going to be this. Or I might say, hey, this year, I'm not gonna shoot for the album. I'm just gonna shoot for a couple of singles this year. But for me, the major accomplishment is when I can set that goal for myself, and stay disciplined enough to see it through. I think the biggest accomplishment was my very first album. I mean, when we talk about labor of love, there were multiple, I would be up sometimes 3 days, 3 days straight,
like me.
right? Just trying to get it right. Just trying to get it right. And the reason for that is because, I realized that at the end of the day, it wasn't only me that was listening to this. That was going to be someone else on the other end that was going to hear this. And they were going to have to really understand what it is I'm trying to deliver. Right. So completing that album was a huge accomplishment in my eyes, a huge accomplishment for me. And then over the years, as I completed subsequent albums, I got a little better at making sure the final product was what it needed to be. But each of those each of those were, a huge accomplishment for me.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
do you make your music for your songs as well?
Interesting. For the most part, yeah. Oh no, I do. I do. I record all of my own tracks. Because I was a musician first, right?
Right. Right.
And so I do make all of my music. I play, all of the instruments on the tracks.
Nice.
Yeah. And I love it. I love it because usually when I write, um it starts out with the music,
Right.
and I sort of allow the music to speak to me. However, there have been times where a song just came to me, right, and I said, hey, this song is just too good. I've got to find music that'll fit it, right.
Right.
But usually it's the other way around, the music, and then I let the music speak to me.
Nice. So you're
Yeah.
writing the songs, you're producing the music for it, and doing all the instruments for it. So
Yeah.
you're actually saving money right there.
I am. I
Mm,
am that, and that is the goal, right? That is the goal. I do from time to time, though. I do collaborate with other musicians and other artists, right? Because it just adds a nice flavor, right?
right.
When you've got that diversity on some of the tracks. So I don't always choose to work in a silo. Uh,
Nice. So do you rather produce like EPs or albums? Do you always just do albums or do you put EPs out?
Well, I've gotten away from the albums, and I that used to be the thing, right? But again,
Mhm.
no one buys albums anymore, right? Even if I record an entire album, right, it's gonna go on some streaming platform, and the people are gonna pick and choose which song they like, and then that's gonna be it, right?
Right.
So what I do today is I do singles.
Mm,
Uh, I think the turnaround in terms of producing singles is a lot quicker, right? Because
yeah.
I can produce a single, I can release it, let it build momentum. While it's building momentum, I can work on another single. Right.
Nice. So how
Yeah.
often do you work on a single since you can like cook it up that fast? How often do you release one?
You know, so I've got I've got quite a few in the pipeline right now, but I what I usually do is I'll release a single like this recent one that I released. Um, I'll probably let it run for maybe 3 months or so because I don't want to put other music out that will sort of cannibalize the popularity of that song, right? So I kind of let that song do what it's gonna do. Once I see the interest sort of dying down, then I'll release something
Release another
else.
one.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So this has been a great conversation. So as we wrap up our conversation, I would like you to give some advice to those upcoming artists, the do's and the don'ts, or where to get started at, and let everybody know
Yeah.
what's next for you and where to follow you.
Absolutely. So do's and don'ts. So first off, I think it's important to understand, right? There's no quick fix. There's no single way to get to where you need to be. Um, the best advice that I can give to any artist is be patient with yourself and be willing to do the work. Uh, that's really it. Um, so in terms of my music and where you can find me, so I am on all of the streaming platforms. You can Eddie Howard. Um, you can find me on Spotify. You can find me on Apple Music. You can find me on YouTube. Um, and there's probably 40 streaming platforms out there. I can't name them all, but if you Google Eddie Howard, I will come up. There's another guy named Eddie Howard. He doesn't look like me, but he'll probably come up as well. But if you Google I will definitely be in your top 2 or 3 search terms. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Eddie, for accepting my invitation to come on here and highlight yourself. And I wish you nothing but success in this journey. You know, I'm going to be supporting from the back, the behind the scenes. I'm going to support. So if you have any music you want me to play, don't feel free to send it to me, and I'm gonna highlight you.
Awesome. I appreciate you so much, and thank you again for having me on.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And thank you everyone else for being a part of Breaking the Silence with me again with another amazing guest. I really appreciate all you tuning in, liking, sharing, subscribing, just hanging with me on this journey. I really appreciate you. So next time, tune in with me to Break the Silence, and make sure y'all go ahead and follow him because he has an amazing journey. Trust me, he has an amazing journey. So follow his journey, like, share, subscribe to everything that he has going on. So we can all go to the top. Later.
60. There's levels to this. 70. There's levels to this. 80. Levels. 90. Levels. 100. Levels. 120. I worked hard.